Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
More voices are joining the debate over President Trump's comments to the widow of a fallen soldier, including members of the soldier's family and the president's chief of staff. I'm John Schumo in New York, and I'll have that story coming up.
And the man who led Butte police on a chase and then a standoff faces a lot of charges. That list of felonies is coming up. Good morning and welcome to your Friday. I'm Missy O'Malley. Chet Lehman will have our forecast in just a moment. Matt Elwell is off today. The he said, she said battle is intensifying over the comments President Trump made to the widow of one of the 4 soldiers killed in Niger a few weeks ago. The soldier's family is now speaking out. So too is the president's chief of staff, a 4-star general and Gold Star father himself. CBS's John Schumo has our latest.
The back and forth over what President Trump said to a fallen soldier's family escalated Thursday. The latest to comment on the president's call to Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's widow, Johnson's half-sister, Angie Gent.
I find it very disrespectful of our president, someone who, we look up to, who's supposed to be a role model to the generations to come, to actually say that.
What he said was recounted by Congresswoman Frederica Wilson of Florida. Earlier this week, she was in the car with Johnson's widow when the president called.
He said to the wife, well, I guess he knew what he was getting into.
Chief of Staff John Kelly, whose son was killed while serving in Afghanistan, made an unscheduled stop at the White House press briefing to defend the president. Kelly said Mr. Trump asked for his help on what to say about a fallen soldier.
He was doing exactly what he wanted to do when he was killed. He knew what the possibilities were because we're at war. When he died, he was surrounded by the best men on this earth, his friends. That's what the president tried to say to 4 families the other day.
President Trump's latest response was via tweet. Overnight, he wrote the fake news is going crazy with wacky Congresswoman Wilson, who was secretly on a very personal call and gave a total lie on content. John Schumo, CBS News.
Now, General Kelly also said that he was stunned that a member of Congress would have listened in on a call that he said is a sacred conversation. Now, asked about that in Florida, the Congresswoman told the reporter, quote, John Kelly is trying to keep his job. He will say anything. So glad to have you with us here on this Friday, taking a look at the weather as Chet's coming in from outside. Chet,
I was just working on some numbers. We're talking new numbers coming in for wind. We're talking 23-mile-an-hour gusts in Ennis right now. Winds in that 20-mile-an-hour range for Livingston and Dillon as well. Here's what it looks like on satellite radar. The system has already entered Montana, bringing some moisture to the extreme western part of the state. That moisture also has some cooler temperatures with it, Missy, and we're talking about right now the warmest temperatures we're going to see of the day. So I'm going to just leave it right here. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s for the most part. Clear skies and 27 in West Yellowstone right now. But it is going to change, and I have that detailed forecast coming up in 10 minutes.
Not quite those beautiful summer days that we've had in just the past recent. Thank you, Chet. Now, 6:34 on your Friday morning. The man arrested on Tuesday evening after a standoff with police in Butte is facing several felony charges. Court records show 29-year-old James Wasson had been charged with 5 felony counts of intimidation and 1 felony count of assault on a peace officer. Wasson allegedly holed up inside an apartment on South Montana Street on Tuesday night after evading a traffic stop and then threatened to shoot police officers. He surrendered without incident after a 3-hour standoff. Wasson remains jailed at this time. And the former land trust director from Missoula, Grant Keir, is one of the 3 Democrats already running for Montana's lone U.S. House seat. Keir is a newcomer to politics in Montana, and on Thursday he spoke with MTN's chief political reporter, Mike Dennison, about why he's in the race and why he's running.
Grant Keir recently stepped down from his job as director of the Five Valleys Land Trust to run for the congressional seat now held by Republican Greg Gianforte. He says he believes Montanans want a congressman who brings people together to solve thorny problems facing the state and the nation, and that Gianforte isn't doing that.
What I feel like we've seen from our current congressman is that he prefers to focus on how to divide us and how to focus on putting us against one another in terms of our problem solving, and I think we deserve better.
The 42-year-old Kansas native moved to Montana in 2005. He's worked with 2 Western Montana land trusts, helping agricultural landowners, conservationists, and others preserve current land use and access to public land. The two other Democrats in the race so far are Billings Attorney John Heenan and State Representative Tom Woods of Bozeman. Keir says he's a Democrat because he believes all people should have equal opportunity to succeed, and the government has a role in that process. He says the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, is a good example of government working to help those who need health coverage, and that it should be maintained and improved.
I believe very strongly that we should be working across party lines to fix what's broken in the Affordable Care Act and make sure that we do not interrupt the important care that people are getting right now through the Affordable Care Act, and we protect what's working with it and we fix what's broken.
For now, Keir says he's traveling the state to introduce himself to voters and try to convince them that he would be a pragmatic problem solver as Montana's congressman.
And I think fundamentally what Montanans are really tired of is a hyper-partisan debate. And I have proven over the years, as I've been in Montana, that I'm respectful of people who have different views than me. I'm capable of building bridges across divides, and I'm capable of finding solutions that impact people's lives every day.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Now, the Democratic Party election is still more than 7 months away. The primary is next June. And President Trump's former chief strategist is out with his endorsement in the U.S. Senate race in Montana. Steve Bannon's pick is currently Montana State Auditor Matt Rosendale. Bannon left the White House to return to run conservative news website Breitbart and has been actively endorsing candidates for Congress. Breitbart reports that Matt Rosendale is conducting a fiercely independent-minded campaign, and other Republicans have failed to gain that traction. And teachers from around the state are switching roles and doing some learning of their own for a week for Montana Educators Conference. MTN's Don Fisher shows us what it offers for those state educators.
Big Sky High School and C.S. Porter Middle School in Missoula played host to the conference this year, and teachers I spoke with say they get a ton out of it.
Everything just doesn't stay the same all the time in education. New tools, new techniques, it exposes them to classroom management skills, better ways to improve student education, students with special needs, pretty much in any area, at least specific to education.
More than 2,000 Montana teachers and paraprofessionals are spending 2 days this week fine-tuning their skills while also learning about evolving resources and technology available to help student growth. Rose Keller is a school counselor in Anaconda. This is her 15th year in education, and despite her experience, she says she still gains plenty from attending these conferences.
You can get whatever you want out of it. There's lots of sectionals offered, from math to science to English, school counseling, behavior. So there's lots to be learned and lots of different vendors to pick up new materials, and no matter what you're teaching, no matter what your vocation in education is, there's something here for everyone.
The conference is put on by the MEA-MFT, Montana's Union for K-12 teachers and other public employees. Through the 2 days, teachers are able to get the professional development they need to renew their teaching licenses as required by state law. But Ryan says what's equally important is bouncing ideas off her peers.
So it's very beneficial, and you take those tactics and put them in your classroom, and you can see the growth in the students. At least the ones I've taken, they've been completely successful. It's been amazing, so I enjoy it a lot.
In Missoula, Don Fisher, MTN News.
Now, the conference is put on with the help of volunteers made up mostly of Missoula teachers who put in hundreds of hours to make that event run smoothly. And a 4.2 magnitude earthquake shook parts of Helena on Thursday afternoon. The epicenter was southeast of Lincoln, and that's where MTN's Jacob Fuhrer went to talk about residents about their constant shaking community.
Well, the town of Lincoln is no stranger to being shaken up by these earthquakes, especially after a 5.8 magnitude hit back in July. But this earthquake is the strongest one since those aftershocks from that big quake. Thursday's quake clocked in at a 4.2 magnitude at around 4:18 p.m. On October 15th, there were 2 earthquakes in Lincoln, a 3.9 and a 3.4, and there have been 97 earthquakes greater than a 2.5 since July 6th, and 721 quakes greater than a 1.0. However, every resident I spoke with today said they didn't feel a thing. Perhaps they're just used to it, as Montana is one of the most seismically active states in the U.S. Reporting from Lincoln, Jacob Fuhrer, MTN News.
Now, there have not been any reports of damage or injury thus far. Thursday's earthquake was reportedly felt as far away as Whitefish. And that quake happened, coincidentally, on the Great Montana Shakeout Day. The Great Montana Shakeout is a statewide earthquake drill designed to prepare state residents to deal with the effects of a major earthquake. Nursing students at Montana Tech took part in the Great Montana Shakeout drill. It called for a fake quake at 10:19 Thursday morning. Students used simulated patients in that drill to practice how they would handle an earthquake in a hospital setting.
The safety of that patient is by far the most important, so getting them safe and making sure they're secure before you secure yourself is definitely very important.
Now, that drill was held all over campus. It is time for a quick break. When Montana This Morning returns, we examine the wildfires in California. Some experts were saying that it was sparked by power lines. Now they're saying maybe it was a fire NATO is to blame. That story for you in just a moment, but first we check in with Nora O'Donnell to see your Friday headlines.
Good morning. Ahead here on CBS This Morning, the Senate clears a path for tax reform. Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, right here in Studio 57 for our Issues That Matter series. We'll get his take on the Republican plan, plus John Kelly's political and personal defense of President Trump's call to a Gold Star widow. We'll see you right at 7.